Hello and welcome to the high banks of the Daytona Oval here for the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series duels. We have both duels coming at you guys tonight. If you guys enjoyed the series from the last episode we just put up a few days ago of the Clash, we really appreciate your feedback of what we've been getting, and we're excited to bring you guys the first duel and second duel here tonight before the Daytona 500 later this weekend. This really doesn't count for anything. We didn't really do any qualifying stuff. This is more of just for fun, and then it really picks up at the Daytona 500. But the cars are about to get going here for duel number one, where Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski lead the field to the green. But we got myself and Jay, your normal commentator. Say hello, Jay.
What up, everyone?
But we also got a guest partner with us that you will hear pop up at times here as well in tonight's video, and that is Eddie.
Howdy.
So it'll be us three in the booth tonight as the cars are rolling, and we are ready to get going here for duel number one. A bit of a slow roll there for some of the guys back there, but we got 20 cars ready to take the green flag here in the first duel. A lot of Hendrick Motorsports cars actually up here in the mix now as we get the camera on Kyle Larson, who's ready to lead the field to the green flag. If you guys remember back to the Clash recently, a few days ago, just like real life, very chaotic. We had a huge crash. Jay, I know you remember that, where we saw like 10 cars go off. When do you think that the duel one here is going to be calm, cool, and collected, or do you think we're going to see something like we saw in the Clash, Jay?
Well, you certainly hope, at least for these drivers, that it's cool and calm and no big wrecks happen. Although I guess this doesn't really count for the 500, so it doesn't matter. But you will probably see one of what usually happens every year. One duel will be calm, one duel will be crazy. For this duel, I'm gonna suspect that it's gonna be calm. Maybe the other one will be crazy. But overall, everybody just wants to get back into the form of racing, getting back into to feel the feel of their car and to being around all these other guys. So we could see some mistakes happen that cause some wrecks. Who knows?
Overall, our first oval race of the season. Eddie, a quick pick from you. Who do you think is going to win this thing?
I'm gonna be looking at those two drivers right there in row three between the 19 of Martin Truex and that number 9 Kelly Bublik of Chase Elliott. I really think they're both gonna be doing well here with the draft here.
And Chase Elliott, of course, the defending Cup Series champion here in the Cup Series from 2020 after coming in clutch at the end of that season there with the win in Martinsville and in Phoenix to win the title now as a duel number one. The green flag is out here at the high banks of Daytona International Speedway here under the lights now as we get going down towards turns one. So you see Larson, Hendrick, Power already up on the front row here as they go down into turns one. Kevin Harvick just behind in that third position. But Brad Keselowski, you see up on the top there, got his teammate Joey Logano with, right there. You see maybe an affiliate Penske driver like DeBenedetto. You could maybe see him look to work with those guys. But we also got Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney. So the whole Penske organization's actually in this race or in this first duel. So honestly, guys, Jay, I think that the Penske 4, that's going to be something to watch out for here in this race, as they can definitely work together and maybe win.
That is certainly a huge advantage for those four guys in the Ford camp. They probably will and obviously should work together this race. Those four hooking up and getting together, and obviously we know that Keselowski is a very good plate racer, and then Logano himself, he can be quite aggressive, but he's also pretty good at plate tracks. And we've seen DeBenedetto run up front quite a few times, especially here at Daytona, before he inevitably gets involved in a wreck. So that Penske organization having all four of those guys in this race, that is a huge deal for them, and they are probably looking to work together and win this race.
And there you see Kevin Harvick actually going up the inside, and Keselowski maybe looking to force it three wide down the back here for the lead. But he's going to get to the inside there, three wide for the lead into turns one or into turn three. Sorry, I honestly cannot say I expected this, but it appears Larson is going to get hung out here on the top unless he can get down in front of the 22 of Joey Logano. At the very back, you can actually see the 43 of Eric Jones actually struggling here to hang on. Now is Eddie. You picked the 9 of Elliott. There was one to watch. He's already up here going for P3, and as you would know for sure, he's a tremendous driver here when it comes to plate racing.
Yeah, I like how he's keeping his momentum here on the bottom. I just feel bad for right now for Kyle Larson. He's got nobody helping with him here on the top lane. But I really like what I'm seeing so far out of this Ford car with Kevin Harvick. The Fords are really trying to mesh up here on the top lane, as I noticed. as they're trying to get something formed here. As I think I just saw Kyle Larson just form back into this top lane here.
It appears it's tough to see. The 22 might stick with him. He might come down in front of the 19, actually. I think he's going to come down in front of the 19. But 2 by 2 by 2. Jones actually right back in the field. It looks like Larson trying to get back in, but now he's actually 3 wide with Ryan Blaney as well as Kurt Busch's is Harvick, Keselowski out front. But we go a little bit through the field now. You see Eric Almirola up in the mix, but we got a bunch of Hendrick cars in here as well. Alex Bowman's back there. William Byron, Elliott. The only one missing is the other Hendrick driver, of course, that I cannot remember at the moment now as I go down this back straight away. So through the field, Anthony Alfredo, a rookie here, looking to make his first Daytona 500 start this weekend there in that number 38 car for front row. Now, as I should mention as well, 32 laps here in Duel 1. Some 3-wide action. Honestly, guys, I did not expect to be seeing this 3-wide action early on. I don't know about you, Jay, but I thought it was going to stay just kind of calm, cool, and collected.
You would think that it was going to stay calm, but obviously these drivers, considering Kyle Larson taking it 3 wide on lap 2, actually no, Keselowski taking it 3 wide on lap 2, showing that they do not want to sit around. These drivers are antsy, they're ready to go, they're wanting to race, they're wanting to get the feel of their car, and so they're not going to take this race easy. They're going to put it all out on the line, and hopefully for them, they do not ruin their Daytona 500 car.
I saw a moment there. The 9 of Elio really was taking a peek. I thought he was going to do something, but look at this. 3 by 3, what, 4 rows deep right now. Alex Bowman getting into the middle. I am very surprised. Ryan Newman at the very back. Larson started P1. He's going to the back. The 19 of Truex going to the back. Honestly, maybe this could be just kind of a strategy from the 5 of Kyle Larson. His first time out here in this car. He was not in the Clash, of course, so just kind of getting used to this new team. And honestly, Eddie, what do you expect from the 5 of Larson this season?
I'm expecting a little bit of patience and consistency a little bit. I think they want to try to get their feet a little bit wet here as Kyle Larson's been out of the seat for a while with the Cup cars, and I think it's going to take him a little bit of time before he gets back into the momentum he was in. But I want to say a huge shout out right now. How about the 38 on the bottom, Anthony Alfredo? He's really doing well. So we think we might be going 4 wide here, Gary.
That is certainly not what I expected to see, but 4 wide it is. Logano on the far outside, Elliott de Benedetto in the middle as well, and I think they're going to make it work, but the trial will, honestly, one of the sketchiest parts of the track. Look how close the 9 is to the 21, still 4 wide. This is extremely risky on all of those guys right there, but somehow they're making it work. But the question is, Jay, how long are they going to be able to make 4 wide work here?
Not long at all. I don't know how they've made it work this long. That 9 and the 21
Oh,
have basically been an inch apart the whole way around the track. In fact, I thought the 9 was going to turn the 21 right there.
it looked like it. Still 4 wide, by the way, into turn 3. Harvick on the outside there. Byron on the inside. He's going to go to the lead. The 9 and the 21 have been just centimeters apart this whole time. Austin Cindric, the rookie, getting up into the mix here. This is just some epic racing. I don't know how they're going through the trial that close right now, but very entertaining racing. 3 by 3 the whole way deep. And honestly, we're on lap 8 already of this first duel. Very quick. The way, seeing how this is shaping out, it looks like they finally might get settled out. But what lap do you guys think we're going to see the big one at this rate?
Lap 8.
This very
The
lap.
way these guys are driving, I'm surprised it wasn't lap 7. These guys have just they've went out into this race and immediately put their pedal to the floor, and they have said, I'm racing 3 wide, I'm racing 4 wide, I am making this race as crazy as I can just because I want to. And somehow right now they're making it work and not wrecking.
On board with the 9 on the roof cam. Look how close this is right here with the 21 of De Benedetto on his inside. I am very shocked. It actually looks like now they're getting finally settled out. Yes, they are. 3 by 3 again. Oh my goodness. Amazed that did not turn into some type of incident now. As Byron Larson, I don't know how he missed this, but Kyle Larson, who was shuffled to the back, now P1 side by side right now with his Hendrick Motorsports teammate of William Byron. And we mentioned teammates. I am really dumb. Actually, all Hendrick cars are in this duel. So we look at all Penske cars are in here, all Hendrick cars are in here. I think honestly, guys, this is going to turn into a Penske versus Hendrick here by the time this duel is over. Do you agree, Eddie?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the battle of the Fords and Chevys here. As I think right now it's a little bit of a Chevy dominance shown here with Kyle Larson leading the field with Willie Byron in second. But I think I'm gonna have to keep my eye a little bit on that lingering Toyota on the top lane of Christopher Bell. Seems like him and Kyle Busch need to try to link up here if they can by chance and see if they can make any moves to the front here.
Definitely got to watch
Here's the
out for
thing that
them.
I've noticed about this duel is so we have all four Hendrick cars here. We have all five Penske cars because we got to remember that 33 is also a Penske car as well. And there's also three of the four Joe Gibbs cars. So all of the big teams, or almost all of the big teams, are in this race. The only one missing is Denny Hamlin. So really, this is the race to pay attention to. This is the race with the big boys. This is the one that's going to have some even, probably some big cars get wrecked out of this race with the way these guys are driving right now.
Absolutely. I think Denny Hamlin, he's in a bit of trouble for duel number two, but at the same time, he is going to have help from his own team potentially of 2311 Racing that will be in that second duel, driven, of course, by Bubba Wallace now. As you look up front, Larson, Byron, they've been kind of taking advantage of this battling going on. They're trying to get away all of a sudden now as they go down into turn three. Larson in a commanding lead right now, making a statement here in his NASCAR return. And of course behind him, his teammate of William Byron. Some great team play right here now, as I'm sure this field is going to swallow them up. But you can see now things have kind of calmed down quite a bit now as the 21 of DeBenedetto side by side with the 20 of Christopher Bell in his first season with Joe Gibbs Racing. But DeBenedetto in what could be a make or break season, honestly, for him, as we know that Austin Cindric, who's currently in the 33 car right now, will actually be driving this 21 car next season. DeBenedetto currently without a ride. And Jay, honestly, DeBenedetto, if he could pick up a Daytona 500 win this weekend, I mean, that could honestly change the future of his whole career here in the Cup Series.
Yeah, this season is a very very important one for De Benedetto. I think that he has to prove himself. I mean, truthfully, he probably already has proved himself, but he's got to find some sponsorship that will go with him if he has to leave the Penske Group, and he's got to get some wins this season to prove to any other big teams out there that hey, I can win races, I can compete for championships. Take a chance on me, sign me, and let's go win a championship together.
And there you see him trying to make a move. And as soon as he got out of that battle, he ran these front two right down. This could turn into a bit of a trend where we could maybe even see a single file line. But Eddie, I mean, if you were a top team, or just, I mean, honestly, a team owner in general, I mean, you would have to think Matt DiBenedetto in the situation right now. I mean, I'm sure you would maybe take a chance on a guy like him and maybe try to sign him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm looking at like the Stewart Haas Racings or possibly the Roush Fenway Racing establishments to maybe be picking up Mr. Matty D. I think he's a very consistent driver. I think he just needs to find a permanent seat, and I think he can show in maybe a year or 2 years that he can contend for race wins and possibly even make a deep run in the playoffs. There's also I want to give a shout out to Gary. How about the 43 of Eric Jones making it into the top 10 for that little bit there? He was right all the way in the back on the start, and now he's in the middle of three wide, just stuck all by himself.
Taking a risk there, and they were 3 by 3 there just a handful of laps ago, but they kind of simmered down a little bit. But now you got Eric Jones taking the risk. It's his first season with this team, getting sacked from Joe Gibbs Racing in that 20 car for Christopher Bell, who he's currently side by side with, by the way. It'll be interesting to see them two battle it out. Right now, Jones currently at the end of last lap ran P7 as they're starting to look like they kind of want to get going 3 wide again. And honestly, I hope we don't see any more 4 wide because that was intense just from the broadcast perspective. Now it's Larson loving everything he's seeing right now, but Eric Jones in a interesting position right now here in his career. He's still a young driver. I think 24 years old or something like that. Now down to, I mean, what many would consider a subpar, mediocre team. Now, Eddie, do you think this is going to be a huge year for Eric? I mean, does he really have to make a statement? Apparently, he's got a 2-year deal with RPM, but can actually leave that team at any point. So, I mean, what do you think is going to happen with him?
I don't see it as like a statement year for Eric Jones, but I think it's more of a just, hey, I'm the same kind of guy that has the same kind of performances in the 20 car where I can finish around the top 10, top 15s. And I can just show that no matter what ride I'm in, I can still perform the same kind of consistent level I do week in and week out. I think uh, this little switch here, I think this is one of my more favoritism moves right here, is I really think Eric Jones in the Chevy would fit more comfortable. He's on his own establishment. He's all by himself. He doesn't have any teammates, but the type of Chevy teammates he has around him with the likes of like Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, and everybody else you can name of. I think just being in that manufacturer just shows how much of a dominance he would make. As you can see, he's just making it really three wide. I don't know how these guys are just being like this right now. A lot of these guys qualified up front for the 500. I'm shocked they're even going this aggressive right now.
He committed three wide in the middle. He's been doing it for multiple laps now. You see Almirola actually up the inside of the 24 of William Byron up there in the second position. But I mean, we look through the field currently as they run. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell both falling back a little bit. It seems like that third lane definitely seems to be struggling. Bowman, we haven't really seen him up towards the front very much here in this race so far. Byron falls down to P3 now. Elliott, though, sticking with his teammate of Bowman, but maybe trying to make that three wide work there in the middle. But at the very back of the field, you actually got the rookie Anthony Alfredo coming over into the Cup Series here, up from the Xfinity Series. He was previously in last season driving for Richard Childress Racing. Jay, I mean, you look at a guy like Anthony Alfredo in another car that's really considered mediocre. I mean, what do you expect from him this season in terms of performance?
I'm not really sure what I expect from him. Maybe running in the 20s every week. Maybe some top 10s here and there. Maybe around in the somewhere between the 20s and or in the teens. We know relatively that front row is all right. They're not a top team. They're not a low tier team. But as far as Alfredo goes, he has no experience in the Cup Series, and he's gonna have to figure this out on the fly. So it's probably gonna be rough for him, and I don't see it being the greatest season, but who knows? Maybe in 2 or 3 years he can make himself look pretty decent.
And I think this is another rough season, just like 2020 was with the situation for to be a rookie, where you basically get no practice at all, no qualifying. You just got to go to the race and learn, like Jay said, on the fly and figure it out. Now, as you can see, everything's kind of calming down now. We're just two by two here. Alfredo, he seems like he can't choose where he wants to go currently, but he's just barely hanging on there now as you see the 20 of Bell hop up. But oh wow, look at that a little crossover there from Alfredo as it appears. Kurt Busch, he jumped up to the top, maybe trying to make the middle work, but Kurt Busch definitely closing in towards the end of his career. We saw him just recently, a few days ago here in the NR2003 season, win the Clash, and myself and Jay, of course, were up in the booth for that one to join you guys, and Jay can tell you right now, as well as myself, we did not, Jay, expect, even with 4 or 5 laps to go, Kurt Busch to come out on top in the Clash.
I didn't expect anyone to come out on top of the class other than the 19 or the 17. And we go in the last 4 or 5 laps, and they both make pit stops, and Truex pitting twice. That that was just unexpected, and Kurt Busch just lucking out. I say lucking out, but Kurt Busch just sitting right there waiting for somebody to pit or make a mistake, and that's what happened, and he got himself a Clash win. As I was going to mention, I was surprised Larson was leading this race for quite a while, being out there by himself, and I was surprised that the pack did not catch. And then all of a sudden, Almirola gets himself in front of that outside line, and he makes a charge. And now look at him; both lines are 2 by 2 again, and it seems like that Larson is not the only one who can just pull away from this field.
Yeah, I mean the 10 definitely showing when he's got the speed here this week in Speed Weeks. That could be something dangerous and something to watch out for in the 500. But Kyle Larson has pretty much been leading this whole thing, other than he got shuffled out early in that three wide move. But right now, just kind of typical Daytona fashion, just 2 by 2, just everyone kind of waiting to make their move. And honestly, this first duel has flown by. We are closing in on the final 11 laps already. And it appears though that sometimes these guys get side by side. Larson's able to just kind of open up that gap. It's really interesting to see that 5 car right now and the speed they have. And honestly, Eddie, I mean, you're seeing this right now. I think Larson, if he keeps his car clean tonight, as well as in the 500 on Sunday, actually, we'll be putting it up on Saturday. But if he keeps his car clean, Eddie, I think he's proving he's going to be a serious threat to win the 500 this weekend.
I mean, we always know, Gary, when we come to super speedways, you always got to watch for the Hendrick Motorsports camps. They always seem to have the power when it comes to either qualifying for the 500 or just being in super speedways, period. Either in race day or qualify or whatever. But I'm really, really surprised with the number 6 Orion Newman right now. He's just been hanging out, I think, around like the third, fourth, or fifth right now. That first car on the bottom lane, he's been peeking his nose in there for the lead. But you can't keep your eye off one of the super speedway favorites when we come here. We gotta look at the 2 car Brett Keselowski. He's always the favorite when we come to super speedways.
Absolutely, Brad Kozlowski. He's had a lot of bad luck lately when it comes to super speedway racing, but every time we know he's going to be a factor. And here he is right now trying to lead that outside lane. It's a two-car breakaway between the 10, who's actually going to hang out the 5 of Larson here. This could be a move where he could get clear. They're 3 wide back there with the rookie of Austin Cindric, but if the 10 of Almirola can clear the 5 of Larson, this will be big, but I don't think it's going to happen now. And Larson has run down the back, and now it's really going to be who's going to get the best run, as it seems things are starting to shuffle a little bit there. The 17, the 19 in the middle, the 6 of Newman maybe looking to make it 3 wide for the lead. Look at the 10 right up on the door of the 5, and sure enough, Newman to the inside here, 3 wide. Eddie was just mentioning to look out for that car, and here he is going for a potential move, but he actually ends up fading in behind, so they kind of settle it out. But I was surprised to see the way they're racing right now, considering like what 15 laps ago they were 3 by 3, they were going 4 wide, and now they're kind of settling out. But I mean, honestly, with less than 10 laps to go, it looks like it's between Kyle Larson as well as Eric Almirola. Jay, do you think anyone can defeat these two right now?
I'm not sure anyone can, but then again, it is Daytona. So the thing is with these packs is you have to find a way to get around them, and you have to have help to do it. And it seems like so far, no one has the right help to get around Larson or even Almirola. I will say though, on that inside line, until Almirola got put out in the middle here, there was 5 Fords lined up together with Kozlowski on the outside line. Those Penske boys and those Ford boys are starting to get lined up, and they're going to gang up on Larson here, who looks like he doesn't have much help at the moment. And they're going to make them 5 cars is a whole lot faster than one. They're going to make themselves get past Larson.
There you saw the 10 clear, and Larson's going to get hung out again here, 3 wide. So with now just 8 laps to go, Larson could be in a position where he's going to have to work his way all the way through the field. Now Newman to the front here. Now as Logano's up in the mix, and Jay did a great job mentioning there those 5 Fords on the bottom. They don't want to help any of their Chevy cars, but you see, you got Logano with help from an affiliated teammate of Matt DiBenedetto right there. That's definitely a threat as we get closer to the end of this race. Teammates are going to get extremely important, and Kyle Larson had none there, not even a manufactured teammate. So now he's got William Byron kind of in the mix there. But look at the top 5 guys. I mean, even top 6. It's pretty much all Fords right now. So they know what they're doing right now when it comes to this first duel. I'm not sure how many Fords are going to be in the second duel, but really, as a manufacturer right now, Ford, Eddie, as it's pretty evident here, they know exactly what they're doing.
I mean, we were talking about in the pre-race, Gary. I think we all suspected that the Fords were going to try to get together at some point here, but I think they're trying to show a little bit of arm strength here with about a bunch of them being in the top 10, about maybe 6 or 7 out of the top 10 all being Fords. But I wouldn't be surprised here in probably like the next lap or two if this third lane starts to come in here. I think a lot of these guys are just ready to stop playing cat and mouse and try to get to the front here, as Ryan Newman brings it to about 5 laps to go here.
At the back, we got Ryan Blaney. Alfredo still chilling at the back, honestly. His first ever, racing a cup car. I'm not surprised to see him just kind of chilling at the back, getting everything figured out there. But you got the 48 of Alex Bowman, who's really hasn't done much in this first duel. He's just been kind of riding towards the back as well. He's side by side right now with the rookie of Alfredo. But we go once again towards the front, and Logano currently leading that inside line. Newman, he's been kind of doing a really good job here defending both lanes right now, as I honestly did not picture him being the guy leading this field here now, as I just didn't see the 6 car having the speed, but here he is proving us wrong. Now has come through, now approaching, now I believe it is 5 laps to go when it hit the line, if I'm not mistaken. But Logano, I think Joey Logano always a threat when he's at Daytona or Talladega. I think honestly he could be the one to watch here to make a move on Newman any moment now within the coming laps. Now, Jay, we're seeing both the 10 and the 5. All of a sudden things aren't going their way. Larson dominated the first 3 quarters, we could already say, of this duel, and here he is hanging on to the top 10 barely. He was P9 at the line there, and he has no help. So I think it's very interesting to see these 2 fast cars all of a sudden fading here towards the end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Larson that he seems like he's been hung out to dry and he's not going to be able to find his way back to the front. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe he will. I'll tell you one thing I have been watching is Chase Elliott has been forming up a line there in the middle and basically shoving his way through and saying, "I'm going to the front, boys. Come with me or not. I don't care. I'm going to make a move to the front." Another thing that I'm kind of surprised about is Ryan Blaney has kind of just sat in the back this whole entire race. His Penske teammates and the Ford teammates have been up front battling and trying to get to the lead of this race. And up until, I mean, as I say that, it looks like he's moving his way forward now. But up until now, he's been pretty much sitting in the back just riding this whole entire race.
I was a bit surprised as well to see the four of Harvick actually leave Logano. Look to the inside of him, did not work out. He's still behind the 22, but Jay mentioned Elliott trying to lead a line right there. It seems to actually not be working. All the guys that were behind him for a minute have kind of went either to the inside or outside. Larson continuing to fall backwards. Same for Eric Almirola. But all of a sudden, as we come to 3 laps to go, we have a single file up here in the top 3. Chris Buescher up into P4. Almirola trying to find something there. He needs some help, but right now it doesn't seem like the help is coming. As we got Kurt Busch all of a sudden kind of finding himself up into the top 5. He's kind of sneaking his way up into there. The only Chevy in the top 7, or actually, he's the only Chevy in the top 10 right now. So Kurt Busch has no help. Logano actually going to make a move up the inside of the 6 of Ryan Newman is going into turn 3, approaching the final 2 laps of the duel. And you see there, Eddie, no help from the 6. I think we can definitely call him off there, unless maybe the 10's able to pick him up here.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Newman's going to get any help here, Gary. As I'm going to keep an eye here on the 17. He's going to leave the 4 out to dry here, too. They're going to make a 3 wide going into the trial, going into 1 here. And then you also got to look, number 1 of Kurt Busch also getting around the back of Kevin Harvick. He's going to have some help from Kurt Busch. Because Ryan Newman's just about to be going to the back here, I'm pretty supposed.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to keep my eyes right now, Gary. That number 5 is starting to creep back into the picture here. He's in the middle of the mix right now. He's starting to come back up here.
With 2 to go, does he have enough time? Kyle Busch drops to the bottom. Jay, this reminds me a lot of the Clash a few days ago. The 17 just slowly but surely sneaked his way to the front. And as we approach the final lap, he's up to P3.
What this doesn't, or well, actually, no, I'm gonna re-say that. What is actually surprising me right now is the fact that earlier in this race, we were 4 laps into it, and these guys were going 3 by 3 by 3. We're down to getting now the white flag, and it's a 4-car breakaway single file. So this is, right now it looks like Joey Logano is easily going to be able to win this race, and as
he leaves him out.
Kevin Harvick is leaving him out to dry.
Harvick going for the lead here. He's got help from the 17. I wouldn't count out the 17 still either now. As who is the 17? The 21 leaves the 22, and an affiliate teammate goes to the inside. He's got to run as well. Kurt Busch, he's kind of faded, but it's going to be a drag race here through 3 and 4. We got 3 cars on the bottom lined up. The outside doesn't have much help at all. I think this is hands down Harvick as we exit turn 4 side by side between the 2 drivers down the front straightaway, coming to the checkered Bowman at the back there. Logano, Harvick side by side at the line. It is going to be Harvick in a photo finish there to win Duel 1, and that turned out to be a lot cleaner than I expected, but what a finish there all of a sudden that turned into. It was 4-car single file for a moment. Turns out to be a photo finish here as Kevin Harvick picks up the Duel 1 victory over Joey Logano. The guys, honestly, the way they were racing earlier, I did not expect it to stay green at all, but it almost, correct me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong, it almost seems like once all the Fords were able to get up towards the front, everything just calmed down for the rest of the race. Do you agree, Jay?
I do agree. There was so many of those Fords this race, and obviously they want to work together. I think that was maybe what was causing such a big issue, and maybe why it was so crazy in the beginning is they were trying to find their place and find their teammates and work together and find a way to get to the front. And once they got there, everything else calmed down. I also will mention it was. I think the fact that when the final lap started, there was a 4-lap breakaway or a 4-car breakaway, and by the time they came back around, they were all 2 by 2 by 2 again. I think that just goes to show how quick the runs can build up with this package, how fast things can happen, and if you aren't paying attention, you can get swallowed up, or you can try and make a move too late, and you are getting dumped, or you are doing the dumping, and a big wreck will happen.
And that was 32 laps here to start off the first duel. That flew by, to be honest with all of you. What a finish it was there between Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano to get Speedweeks just right back on track compared to what we saw at the Clash. A crazy, chaotic race, and this time out, duel number 1, an intense, close 3 by 3 at times, sometimes even 4 wide. We saw Chase Elliott not scared at all to risk it and go 4 wide in the middle, and somehow they all kept it clean there, and it was very exciting to watch there. And that was just one duel. We got another one on the way here coming at you guys after the break, where we'll see some drivers like Denny Hamlin, who's trying to defend his Daytona 500 win from the past 2 seasons. He's trying for the three-peat to go 3 in a row, which would be history. And as well as you're going to see new teams in the second duel, like Trackhouse Racing as well as 2311 Racing. So stay tuned for that. As we go to a quick break, we'll come back and get ready here for duel number 2. And we are back here from the break for the start of duel number 2, where you're going to see up at the front, right off the bat, one of the definitely the big names to watch here tonight, I think, in duel number 2. It's going to be a really interesting duel number 2, and you'll see just why here in a few moments now. But we got up front Denny Hamlin, joined by Ross Chastain for his first race here with the Chip Ganassi Racing Team. Finally, after so many years, Chastain getting a chance with a top team here in the Cup Series. And then we got here on row number 2, Bubba Wallace, as well as the 41 of Cole Custer. Very curious to see what that 2311 Racing Team is going to do. On row number 3, though, we got the 7 of Corey LaJoie, Chase Briscoe there in P5, P6. Then we go a little bit further down there in P7, the 34 of McDowell, 8th, Chad Fincham trying to get into the Daytona 500 here. And then P9, another new team in the series, colleague Justin Haley there in that 16 car to round out the top 10. We got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 11th place goes to Austin Dillon with his teammate alongside of Tyler Reddick there in 12th. 51 of Cody Ware, P13. Daniel Suarez in another new team here for Trackhouse Racing in P14. Then we go a little bit further down. You see in 15th, Quinn Helf in the 00 for Starcom. The 62 of Noah Gregson there making his Cup Series debut for Beard Motorsports in P16, 17th and 18th, the 66 of Timmy Hill, the 37 of Ryan Preece, and then to round out the field, we got the number 53 and the 78 of Gase, as well as BJ McLeod. So guys, compared to the last first duel, I should say, a very different looking lineup here. Honestly, I don't even know if the pack's going to be able to stay together and form anything here. What do you guys think, Jay?
I know, I kind of agree with you. We certainly have some higher tier cars mixed in with some lower tier cars and a few mid tier in between. So it should be an interesting race to say the least. But I will say what the number one thing to look for is the new teams: Trackhouse, Colleague, and 23XI. It'll be interesting to see how they do with getting their first real action here. Obviously not a full field, so we won't really know how they're going to do exactly. But it'll be interesting to see those drivers get their hands on the steering wheel of their new cars for the first time and see how they do.
And off of Oval 4, the pace car comes, getting ready to take the green flag for her once again. Another quick 32 laps. First duel just flew by, and we're ready to take the green flag here one more time. What we think is the final time. You never know. They might end up crashing here. They did not duel 1, which was a very crazy duel. And here we are to get duel number 2 of the night here at Daytona International Speedway. Underway, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain on the front row, and right behind Denny Hamlin immediately, he has his own car that he owns, driven by Bubba Wallace there for that 2311 Racing Team, of course, co-owned by Denny's friend, Michael Jordan, NBA legend, of course, now as they're going to be side by side into turn 1. But, I mean, Eddie, looking at the situation of the field here, I mean, I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of maybe predict who you think is going to win. So who's your pick right now, seeing this field?
I think I'm going to go with the top 2 Toyotas, in my opinion. I think either Denny Hamlin or Bubba Wallace here are going to be the front runners for this, but a little sleeper pick, I'm going to go with the 14 of Chase Briscoe as my little sleeper. I feel like as strong as we saw the Fords in the Duel 1, I think the 2 Fords of Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe can do something to get to the front.
In this field, not wasting any time, you saw Corey LaJoie hang out Bubba Wallace. Denny Hamlin's pretty much helper, and they're already going 3x3 like we saw at the beginning of the first duel. And there you see Briscoe right there in the middle behind the 23 of Bubba Wallace now as they go down towards turns 1. There's a few pairs of teammates in this first duel. Hamlin in a similar spot to Larson, where we see that pack get battling and he's able to kind of get away. But Hamlin, I guess you could say the 23 is kind of his teammates. We got a pair of Stewart Haas teammates with Custer as well as Briscoe, who is also making his Cup Series debut here in Daytona. But then we got some RCR guys like Reddick as well as Austin Dillon, and even Daniel Suarez in the Trackhouse car has the RCR Alliance. So a few team pairs, not as significant as we saw in duel number 1, but Denny Hamlin just adoring what he's seeing behind him now, as he is, like I said, in the same position as Larson. As Jay, I'm interested to see when we get to the Daytona 500 later this weekend, if that's going to be the same situation where the pack seems to battle it out and the leader's almost able to get a little bit of a gap.
I doubt it'll be the same situation. We'll have a full field of 40 cars, and there's going to be a lot bigger runs happening, runs a lot easier to happen. And I think what we're just seeing right now is a mix of cars going three wide, and those cars that are going three wide maybe not being top tier equipment, and Denny Hamlin being in top tier equipment, so he can just run away. Another thing that I want to note is like how Duel 1 was the field of Fords. Well, this is the field of Chevys. There seems to be a ton of Chevys in this race, a couple Fords, and then there's Hamlin and Bubba and the Toyotas. So it's basically going to be Chevys ganging up on everyone here.
And I mean, Eddie, I mean, you saw there in Duel 1, once the Fords got to the front, they just took over and the race just calmed right down. So, Jay mentioning all the Chevys, you think if there's Chevys here, you can see the bottom lane right now is turning into all Chevys. If they're able to overtake the 11 car of Hamlin, do you think it's just going to kind of turn into maybe a single file train here and just stay calm for the rest of the race?
I don't know. When I look at the kind of Chevys are leading in this kind of situation, I think Coley Grayson and RCR without a doubt, yes. But you also look at the smaller teams of like Joey Gase, Quinn Houff, and Noah Gragson. They don't really are known for the powerful type of equipment, so I don't know if they'll be able to push uh somebody like Justin Haley or Austin Dillon to the front as we see Justin Haley getting a really big run on Denny Hamlin here, see what he can do. But I honestly think Denny Hamlin's just going to be able to control whatever lane he wants, to be honest. Especially
Move.
that and Justin Haley looks.
There he goes to the inside. He is not wasting any time in a cup, not his cup debut. He's actually made a cup start. He's actually won a cup race at this very racetrack, but here he is. He's going to be full time, at least in the NR2003 season, in that 16 car, likely, unless we are able to bring in our own system of go or go homers, which you could see here in the future. But you got Briscoe there on the bottom now, but we got the 51 as well trying to help out in the mix. But just a really interesting situation going on right now. And another guy we should probably mention that you always want to watch out for at a track like Daytona, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Currently actually running towards the back of the field there. He's actually down in P18 right now based off the scoring. But I mean, Jay, as we've seen in the past, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., by the way, as Hamlin does get overtaken for the lead, but Stenhouse, we know, Jay, not afraid to spice it up and sometimes get himself into really sketchy situations at a track like Daytona.
Stenhouse is not one that is afraid to be aggressive at all. He will do anything and everything to get to the lead. But if I had to guess, he probably just right now wants to get to the back and kind of just feel his way through the field, maybe see what he can do, and also just maybe not be up front right now near some of these guys who are inexperienced at being towards the front and thinking maybe there's going to be a wreck as they're going three wide for the lead here.
The 51 of Joey Gase to the inside, not afraid to hang out a Chevy teammate of Justin Haley there and colleagues' first ever start in the Cup Series there in the second duel now, and it's going to work. Hamlin could be in a really bad position here. He's hung out right now on the outside, three wide. It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to maybe stick it in there and see if the three is going to hang with him or not. We're going to find out as they go into three. But you saw the 51 of Gates jump up to the top. You see the 14 of Briscoe now lead that inside line. Eddie was mentioning just a little bit ago that 14, should probably watch out for him. And here Briscoe is. Came up short of an Xfinity championship last season, but won so many races. And you got to expect a solid performance from him. Honestly, Eddie, I think we can expect a playoff run potentially here from Chase. But do you think in his rookie season he's going to be a threat to race some or win some races?
I think at a couple tracks he'll be able to be a major threat. Like I kind of compare him to like a Chase Elliott or an Austin Cindric. He's really good at road courses for some reason. A lot of these Xfinity drivers that are coming in the Cup are really experienced road course ringers, especially with the road courses that we added to the season here, Gary. I think Chase Briscoe's gonna be one to look at to win one of these road courses that we come here in a couple of years.
7 road courses as well this season. I mean, yeah, Jay, what do you think? I mean, Briscoe won so many races, like I just mentioned there in the Xfinity Series last season, and I would only think he's going to be, honestly, in my opinion, one of the more highly anticipated rookies that we've had in quite some time, based off of what he was able to accomplish, other than coming up short of the championship.
I would compare Briscoe's rookie season probably to that of Cole Custer's rookie season. Looking pretty decent, running pretty decent. Maybe get a win here, a win or two, maybe. Make the playoffs, and then maybe not do much more than that. We've never really seen somebody get in that 14 car and be just a dominant person in the field, and I certainly don't expect to be Briscoe that driver right away. But I do think with maybe in a couple years' time he'll be able to contend for multiple wins in a season and maybe make a deep run into the playoffs.
Absolutely expect Briscoe at some point here and within the next few seasons to be a legitimate threat on a week to week basis. You saw some shuffling there between some of these drivers down the back straight away. But overall, as a 16 of Haley looks to the inside there, Briscoe maybe catching him a bit off guard. It's been compared so far to the first duel, definitely a lot more calm. We saw some 3x3, some 4 wide action. We haven't really seen any 4 wide action yet, but we've seen a little bit of 3x3. But yeah, overall, pretty calm right now. And honestly, guys, I mean, you look up top, and all of a sudden it seems like they're losing some cars here, as some cars might be migrating to the bottom, but then all of a sudden they shuffle up to the top. You see Chad Fincham in the 49 looking to the inside of Haley, and honestly, it really doesn't seem like Haley's getting a lot of help. We've seen him get shuffled out a lot here, but I mean, you were mentioning earlier, Eddie, the drivers up here with a lot of inexperience in the Cup Series. I mean, you got to look at this as an opportunity for a driver like Joey Gase, who leads the field right now, to maybe show what he can truly do when he's kind of almost put in a quote unquote equal playing field now with just the way the draft works. Anybody can win here, so you got to look at this as an opportunity for him to kind of make a name for himself, maybe prove that he's worthy of a top tier ride.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see the top two or top three, maybe even to be where they are right now with the 51 of Joey Gase, the 49 of Chad Fincham, and even the rookie of Justin Haley up here in the top three. But I'm keeping my bright eye on Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, and Bubba Wallace merging in this top lane here, Gary. I think they might have something coming here for the 51 of Joey Gase.
I would not be surprised. We know those teams, those cars in general, just have the power. Bubba Wallace, he's trying to maybe help the 11. He might be going to the middle. Can't tell yet. But, I mean, the 14, the 11, they just have a lot of speed in those cars in general. But it seemed like in Duel 1, that third lane didn't quite work the greatest. But just with their speed advantage compared to some of these guys, it actually might be able to work now. As we quickly check out some of the fastest laps right now. The 42 of Ross Chastain for the fastest time on the board so far here in the second duel with a 44.859. The 23, Bubba Wallace, actually with a 44.894 now as we go back to the leaderboard with the 51 of Joey Gase out in front. But Jay, honestly, we were talking about earlier if we're going to see maybe one chaotic duel, one calm duel. We saw a bit of chaos, of course, in Duel 1, but we didn't see any wrecks like we expected. But the way these guys are going right now, honestly, I don't really expect them to maybe get any crazier. What do you think?
I would maybe call this the calm duel, and Duel 1 was the exciting one. Duel 1 had a lot of 3 wide and had a lot of guys trying to make moves and make things happen, and this duel has been a lot calmer. Been some things happening, but it's been a lot of just if you can get to the front, you get to the front. If not, you're going to hang back. One thing I'm quite surprised about to see so far is Daniel Suarez just barely hanging on to this pack in the very back. He's been riding there this whole race, and I'm honestly surprised to see that happening. I was expecting him to just go for it and see what he can do and try and make his way up to the front, but it seems like that is not his strategy for this race, or maybe the equipment is not as good as we were thinking, and he's doing the best he can.
Now, what do you think, Jay? You think a lot of these guys, especially, are staying calm because I mean, you look at the teams here. Definitely not highly funded teams. You think honestly maybe they're just trying to play the strategy of just finish the race clean, don't damage the car.
They could be, but for a team like Trackhouse, you don't know, you don't have a whole lot of data to go off of. You're a brand new team, you're a brand new car, brand new driver, everything is brand new. So you got to go out and get some kind of data. So why not go out and use this race to just try and learn everything you can, make your way through the field, see what kind of runs you can get, see what kind of times you can get, see how the car feels. You got a backup car that you can use, and when you're a brand new team, all the stuff is going to be about the same anyway. So might as well just go out and try. And if you wreck, you wreck. At least you learn something.
Right, and it honestly looks right now from about the 78 on back, they're almost like pulling out. It looks like trying to maybe get a bit of a disconnect there between them and the front pack, and that includes the 99 of Daniel Suarez. And it was just announced recently that Pitbull, a music artist, has actually gotten involved in the Trackhouse team. He's going to play a big role in Eddie. I mean, you look at, I mean, just in terms of just the scope of Pitbull getting involved in NASCAR, I mean, is huge, and I mean, it's really good, I think, for the sport. I mean, what do you think just about a person of his, magnitude getting involved here with a team like Trackhouse?
Yeah, I think it's really great for the heritage too. I think it really brings a lot of interesting fans over for the sport because we know Pittsburgh is a very, very, very Spanish singer, and I think with the heritage that he brings with everything, with the parties he hosts in Miami, to the culture he possesses and everything, I think it's a great thing for that whole team. With Daniel Suarez being from Mexico, Pitbull also being from part of Mexico, it's just really great heritage thing for the sport of NASCAR. It brings like other teams, like we got Michael Jordan bringing over 23XI with Denny Hamlin. Now we got Pitbull over with Trackhouse as a part owner, and I think it's just really great for the sport to begin with.
It's really bringing a more international, exposure, and just to bringing NASCAR potentially to new cultures around the world and whatnot. And I think it's a great opportunity. What do you think about it, Jay?
I think it's a great thing to have Pitbull as a part owner in NASCAR. He certainly will bring in a very diverse fan base, which I think is a great thing for NASCAR. He's gonna, he's gonna put NASCAR into the eyes of a lot more people, bring a lot more attention to the sport, and then also he's just a flat out great entertainer, which is what NASCAR needs. People that are entertaining, that are gonna interact with the fans, and that are gonna make great teams and have a lot of success in the sport.
Pitbull known for being Mr. Worldwide, an incredible opportunity for NASCAR now. Is at the front of the field. It's starting to seem to pick up a little bit here. We are already to lap 18 as both of these Duels guys have just been flying by. But, we see all of a sudden we got a team that's a little bit more, in terms of funding, a little bit more privileged here. You got the 42 of Ross Chastain actually going up to the front, but you kind of see Denny Hamlin still on the outside alongside the 14 of Chase Briscoe, a little bit further behind the 23 of Bubba Wallace. But you see Daniel Suarez, he's right up in the mix now. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to pull off here within the final 15 laps now. As you see out of turns 4 there, the 42 appears he's going to potentially clear Fincham, but actually does not actually happen here as we come through down the front straightaway. But you look at a driver like Ross Chastain, a driver that's worked very hard, took a very interesting career path where he went down to Xfinity and finally got himself a really good opportunity after being in Cup for a few years in very, very poor equipment. Eddie, it's been an interesting story for Ross Chastain, and now here he is finding himself with the opportunity of a lifetime in a very strong team of Chip Ganassi Racing.
Ah, yes, the watermelon man. This guy's been so great to watch on and off the track. He always has a smile with the off the track, but when he gets on the track and into a race car, Gary, he's the most aggressive person out there. As I can recall from a couple of races ago when he went to Darlington Xfinity race, him and Harvick got into an altercation, and then he gets into a bunch of other altercations with when he was in the Xfinity series. He was very close to winning, but he's won at a couple super speedways, maybe like 2 years ago, but last year was, I think it was just a really interesting year for Ross Chastain, his final year colleague. But I think now with Chip Ganassi Racing in the Cup Series, I think he's going to show a lot of heads and show people that, hey man, I can go out and win races. It's just going to take me a minute, but I can still win some races.
Right. Yeah. Jay, we've seen. I think you could probably agree with me here. Chastain. I compare him similar to Noah Gragson, to be honest, where he is absolutely not afraid at all to be extremely aggressive. Sometimes a little bit too aggressive, and that's gotten him in trouble. But like I said, I'm sure you can agree that he's definitely probably one of the most aggressive drivers in the Cup field this season.
I'd call him a baby Joey Logano. He, when he was first gaining attention, he wasn't really being that aggressive at all. He was just kind of, hey, I'm Ross Chastain. Hi, I'm a good driver. Watch what I can do. And now that teams have shown an interest, he's gone out there, and I'll say he's kind of made some interesting choices with the way he's driving. He's shown, aggression is one thing, but then there is just flat out dumping people, and he's done that a couple of times and just gone past the limits of what he should do. So I will say I'm a little bit timid about his career and the way he's going to go, and I will say that he's probably entering the Cup Series with already a lot of people looking at him going, I'm going to watch out for you, and if you rub me the wrong way, I will not be afraid to dump you because I know you do it to me already.
Right. Yeah, back to you, Eddie. Kind of what Jay says. Like coming into the Cup Series, these guys already know what he's done in the lower series. Do you think he's going to find out very quick, maybe, that these guys are not going to tolerate some of the things he's done on the track, like he's done in Xfinity?
I don't think it's going to be very quick. I think it's going to be tonight. It looks like already that Joey Gates is going to be like, hey, man, we got to get going here because we got Cole Custer coming up behind me with Chad Finch and everybody. But I want to point out, Gary, one surprise to me right now, Tyler Reddick. He's been in the back this entire race, and I haven't seen him even close to getting in the top 10 yet. He's been right in the back here with Ricky Stenhouse and a bunch of other drivers. I'm very surprised about this.
There you see him, yeah, right down there in the 18th position. And actually, the pack is really, really calming down now. This is probably the least excitement factored pack we've had tonight now. As you actually look back here, the 66 has lost the draft, so very unfortunate for him there. As you got the 53 just hanging on, but yeah, definitely very calm. Reddick really hasn't been pushing the factor or pushing the issue, sorry, at all here tonight. Now he's got Stenhouse running in the back. Honestly, guys, can't say, or I should say, I am very surprised by the 47 of Stenhouse, who we are expecting to be a lot more aggressive, but he's just been riding in the back here all race. I mean, I definitely did not expect that. Did you, Eddie?
No, I did not expect this at all. I think everybody at home even didn't expect this at all. I mean, everyone knows this guy is known for being up there in the front pack, being aggressive, pushing anybody he can and will to the front, and just trying to win the race, even if it's the first lap of the race. I mean, he's just known in the whole community as just somebody that, I mean, he ain't gonna hold up for you. You better get ready to go to the front if you're gonna be in front of him.
Absolutely. And another driver that's kind of known for their actions at super speedways, Denny Hamlin. We saw him fade after starting P1, and here we are with less than 10 laps to go, and he is known for just kind of being in the right place at the right time at the end of these plate races. Doesn't matter if it counts for points or not, he's always there. And Jay, look, here all of a sudden, with about 8 laps to go, here he is up here in P4, maybe making a move for P3, and I mean, he's proving it once again that he knows how to be in the right spot at the right time.
I'll tell you what, I'm surprised he slid back as far back as he did. Uh, he's got the most. He's obviously got the best equipment in the field, and he was dominating the early part of this race. And then it just seemed like once the pack caught him, he fell back, and for some reason could not make his way forward. But now he's been able to find some space, been able to make some moves, and he is definitely hunting down the lead right now. And I think he's either going to make a hard push for it and get it here and lead the rest of the way home, or he's just going to sit back and wait for his opportunity to make a move and win coming off of turn 4 in the last lap.
And it's going to be interesting here now as we come through to lap 26 of 32. Hamlin, his affiliate teammate, the team that he owns, the 2311 car, all the way down there in P17. So he doesn't have any teammate help or really much manufacturer help other than the 49 Chad Finch. But now you see through turns 1 and 2, Hamlin continues to move his way through the field here towards the end of this race. Now making a pass on the 51 there for the second position, trying to run down the 42 of Ross Chastain. But honestly, Denny Hamlin, another driver that he's proven in the past that he's as well not afraid to be aggressive. But you put him against Ross Chastain, honestly, I don't know who's going to come out on top of this one.
No, I'll be honest with you. I think Joey Gase found that one the hard way. I think a couple laps ago, I almost seen Denny Hamlin, get frustrated with Joey Gase. I think he almost made contact with him a couple laps ago in the rear, but I think he's like, I'm sick of this. I need to get to the front again because I think he understands now it's time to go. We're only coming down to about 6 laps to go here in duel number 2, and I'm also looking back here. The 3 car of Austin Dillon starting to peek his way to the front with Ryan Preece, and also the one we were talking about earlier, that 99 of Daniel Suarez is also making his way up to the front.
And Jay
It
mentioned
seems
earlier.
like Suarez has been given the green light to go from his team. I see him finally making some moves and finally trying to get his way up through this pack. Maybe a little bit too late, but it's good to finally start learning something.
Exactly, like you mentioned, Jay, he was hanging back earlier, and all of a sudden, here we are, coming to 5 to go this time by, and here he is now trying to get up into the mix a little bit. I'm surprised to see the 8 of Reddick actually hanging on barely to the draft, but you see back there, Stenhouse, they're all just hanging on for dear life at this point. Now Suarez almost seems to be maybe pulling out again, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be really interesting here now, but definitely gotta watch out for Hamlin, who's right to the back of Ross Chastain. Honestly, I think if he can just get clear of that 51, it's going to be full attack mode from that point on. And you put Hamlin against Chastain, it's going to be a really interesting finish. You got the 16 of Haley there in line behind Hamlin. It's going to be interesting to see if Haley maybe sticks with Hamlin, hangs him out. We've seen guys in this race so far when Haley was running up front, a lot of guys were not afraid to hang him out. And you look at his history here in the Xfinity Series, at least his plate record, very good. So honestly, I think Eddie and Jay, or we'll start with Jay, I think he's definitely going to be a threat if he doesn't get cleaned out in the Daytona 500 to be a victory.
Certainly, always is. And another thing that I want to talk about is Cole Custer. He's finally worked his way up to the front here as well. and I know that he is itching to get something done at a plate track. He's coming off a rookie season where he's got one win, and I think everybody's kind of doubted him a little bit. And I know that he wants to come in and show that, hey, I deserve to have this 41 car. I didn't push out a guy who didn't get a chance, and come in here and not do anything. And I'm gonna go out and win some races, and I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get farther than I did last season.
Certainly could be a standout or a statement year for Cole Custer now. He's looking like he wants to try and get something going there, but no one's really going with him with 3 laps to go. Eddie, I mean, you look back 2 by 2 right now, but definitely getting more single file towards the back right now. But honestly, do you think Hamlin's going to be able to do anything here? Does he have to clear the 51 to make something happen?
I think he has to make this move now, Gary. I don't think there's any more time in the world. I think he has all the help he needs, but I think he just needs to make this move now. It either be now or on the last lap, or he needs to punt the 42, because I think he just needs to focus on what he's doing now, because he has really good help behind him. But I want to talk about one person, Gary. How about the 78 of BJ McLeod in 8th position on the top lane right now? I don't think
Great job.
anybody in the world would expect the BJ McLeod to be in the top 10 right now.
I don't even think I expected him to be in the show at all, and here he is having a great run now. 2 laps ago, someone was actually just coming out of the pit lane. That was the 66 car that lost the draft earlier there. So now, just 2 by 2, Hamlin clear now of the 51. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for here. Like we mentioned already multiple times, Hamlin at play tracks finds himself in the right spot at the right time at the end of these races. 1.5 laps to go, and the 51 moves to the inside, and that, honestly, I don't know if Hamlin's clearing the 3. No, he is not. So this is all of a sudden Hamlin getting hung out here, so that could have just completely messed over his plans here as we exit turns 4, coming to the final lap already in duel number 2. Duel 1, chaotic, crazy. Hamlin clear coming to the tribal. Now 1 lap to go here in duel number 2, and this is the most pressure Chastain has been under since he has taken the lead. And immediately Hamlin up the inside here as we go down into turn 1, side by side here for the lead. Custer and P3, watch out for that 41. We got the 51 down to 4th, rounding out the top 5. It's the 16 of Haley. And Hamlin might complete the pass here. Where's the 41 going to go? Is he going to stick with the 11? I think he will. Down the back straightaway. 1/2 lap to go now as they're trying to keep it clean. 2 by 2. Now multiple lanes deep. And Hamlin has way more help and clears the 42 of Ross Chastain through the center of 3 and 4 for the final time. The 78 of McLeod, like Eddie mentioned, actually making even more ground up out of 4. Custer appears to just be hanging with the 11. And sure enough, Denny Hamlin times it perfect. Wins duel number 2 as Chastain falls all the way down into P6 there at the line. And wow, I mean, Denny Hamlin proving what he, like, how to plate race like he always does here, and picks up the duel victory. So now a great race overall. A little bit more calm compared to duel number 1. But Jay, I mean, Denny just proved right there that he still knows what he's doing when it comes to plate tracks even after the off season.
He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He made the move a little bit earlier than I was expecting, but he saw his chance to get around Chastain, and he knew that he had to take it. He got around him, and he was not looking back. I will say though, one thing that is good to see, or surprising to see, I will say, is Haley finishing 4th with a brand new colleague team and showing that they have some speed this season, and they may be one to look for, at least on the play tracks.
Great run, yeah, for that team. Now, as we will check out the order here in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, Eddie, we saw an aggressive, nearly perfectly timed move. There, Jay mentioned it definitely looked a little bit early, but of course made it work. And Chastain really had no help. He fell all the way down to P6. But yeah, I mean, Hamlin, Eddie just did a great job there.
I mean, the man's just a legend at these super speedway tracks, Gary. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to stop him, but I do want to report, Gary, that the 8 was radio issues with mechanical failure, possibly.
Oh, was he now? Oh, yes, you see. Wait, it actually appears now that the 8, the 53, the 99 were way off there. I'm not actually sure what happened. Maybe they all had some issues towards the end. I mean, the 99 8 car, both, of course, in the RCR camp, maybe something happened there mechanically. Now, as you just said, of course, with the 8 reporting those issues. Now, as you see, the finishing order here of duel number 2. We actually forgot to show this in duel number 1. We do apologize for that. But Denny Hamlin, Cole Custer, Cody Ware. Sorry, the 51 is Cody Ware. A great run for him, guys. I mean, a statement for him full time this year in the 51 car for, of course, the team owned by his father, of Rick Ware. But yeah, I mean, Jay, a great run for a guy like Cody. Jay's not actually here. We have some technical difficulties here. We apologize for that. But yeah, like we said, great run for Cody. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Eddie?
Yeah, I think Cody Ware really showed out tonight. I mean, I'm really surprised with him and also the 78 of BJ McLeod as always. I mean, with a
Top
top
five.
five.
Yeah.
I mean, both these cars you usually never see run even close to probably top 10, maybe even top 15. They're usually one of the first ones out, but unfortunate to see what happened with Daniel Suarez and Tyler Reddick, Gary. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean Suarez with the new team. Honestly, I don't think they really were or really found what they were looking for tonight, and didn't really get a good feel. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do in the Daytona 500 this weekend. And I don't know what their expectations are, but I mean overall, two duels completed. So I mean we saw, of course, the first duel come down to a photo finish between Kevin Harvick as well as I believe it was Joey Logano. Harvick, of course, came out on top of that. And two veterans of the sport winning the two duels, that Harvick and Hamlin. And honestly, what do you, after seeing both duels, who do you think is going to pull off the 500 victory?
I mean, I gotta go with the favorite, right, Gary? I mean, we gotta go with the 11 of Denny Hamlin. I mean, the man is just too good to not put all of your money and chips on here when we come to Daytona for the Daytona 500. The man's won the last two in a row, maybe even three. I don't even remember off the top of my head, but
Going for three.
going for three, yes. But I think the man has the really best chance in the world right now. But I'm really excited to see what the Fords can do because after seeing Duel 1 and how good they were able to work together, I'm really excited to see how with a whole bunch of Fords can do in a whole pack of group.
I think what we could be looking at is almost Denny Hamlin versus Ford here in Daytona, because I mean Denny proving once again an unbelievable performance here. Even when he got shuffled to the back, found his way back up, won the race. But yeah, I think it's more like a Hamlin versus Ford situation we're looking at here. And I mean, if they can get all those Fords grouped up together, we can see them just take control like we saw in that first duel. So I mean, who knows what's going to happen here? Of course, two duels down. That was 64 laps total, I believe it was. An absolute blast being here with all of you watching, and we hope you all enjoyed. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened to Jay.
I'm here.
He's here. Okay, there you are.
I do want to mention one thing. We called Kaz Gralla the wrong name all night. That's actually Kaz Gralla in the 16, not Justin Haley.
We are just realizing that now.
All right, well, technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. We'll figure this out for the 500.
A great run by Kaz Gralla. We were informed by our executive producers that it was actually Haley in the car. They were incorrect. We'll have that sorted out for the Daytona 500. But I mean, yeah, I mean, now that we got you here, Jay, I mean, what's your pick here for this weekend?
I'm gonna go with the easy pick of Denny Hamlin, but I'll go with a long shot pick of De Benedetto. Obviously, that'd be a little bit of favoritism, but De Benedetto, just like Hamlin, very good at plate tracks, knows how to race. Just unlike Hamlin, De Benedetto gets caught up in the wrecks and unfortunately has awful luck at plate tracks. But I think the easy pick is Hamlin to get his third Daytona 500 win in a row.
And we saw De Benedetto run strong there in the first duel. He was up in the mix, but I mean, as always, if you guys enjoyed what you saw the Clash most recently a few days ago. Now you're seeing the duels. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Those would all be extremely appreciated. We'd just like to say thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch the duels with us. And this weekend, this video here should be uploaded on the same day of the duels on Thursday afternoon before the duels actually get going IRL, and then we will be putting out the Daytona 500 Saturday, probably afternoon. We will get recording that within the next few days, so we can't wait for you guys to join us over there for the Daytona 500, and we are going to be doing probably right around 100 laps or so for that race. So it's going to be a lengthy one. Now, I mean, we could actually do 200. We'll come up with a legitimate decision when it comes to that time. But either way, Daytona 500, we should be dropping that on Saturday. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch, and we will see you guys in the next one for one of the biggest races in all of motorsports, the Daytona 500. Have a great day, everybody.